Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my darlings. I hope you are well. I hope you are well. It is our weekly chat, a chance to catch up with each other, a chance to see how we're all doing in this bloody madcap, crazy world we live in. So, hello, my darlings. I hope you're well. Whether you're at home folding laundry, trying to wrangle kids and get them sorted, or feeling a bit sad and not coping really well right now, you are in the right place. This space is for you in the hard times, in the devastating times, and hopefully in some of the funny and more jolly times too. Welcome to my table. My name is Debbie Carberry. I am an online relationship coach and a trained therapist. So I know you are juggling probably millions of things, not just one or two, because let's face facts, you're a woman. So you're probably really busy. But just for 10 seconds, let's stop and do our little weekly breath. And out, and in, and out, and check in. How are you doing today? How are you going today, my darling? Between 0 to 10, 0, a bag of poop, not so grand. Life's a bit challenging. Or 10 out of 10, good as gold. Or maybe you're somewhere completely in between. Share with me in the chat. This week, I'm sitting at a steady 8. This is 2 weeks in a row I've had high numbers. We love that. So what has been going on this week as I wait to see how people respond in the chat? Let me know where you are in the world. Let me know how you're feeling, as in how you're coping, 0 to 10. And let's dive into something that has come through my life this week, and that is doors closing. I've had, for those who know me, my members are very aware of the fact that I've had a really quite bumpy couple of years, losing family members, relocating, having issues with my adult children, like lots of stuff going on. And it's been a bit of a bumpy ride. But some of that has started to come to an end. Some of it has completely ended in the last day or two, which has been fantastic. So doors are closing. For me, when things come to an end, there's deep relief these days. I quite enjoy the fact that that situation is now completed. It's everything that needs to be done in it has happened, and now we can move forward. But there are other times when things end where doubt creeps in, and for those who know my history, I have quite a traumatic history with quite a damaged attachment style, due to quite an abusive family situation as a baby and a young person, a young child, and into my teens. And I discovered a few years ago, when I was at the beginning of this situation that has just come to an end, that life became intolerably uncertain. And I didn't know about intolerable uncertainty until I was in the middle of it. I'd had uncertain times that felt really distressing. And but this was next level, like something was amiss, this was bigger and wider and deeper than any uncertainty I'd ever felt in my life. And I researched, because I'm a therapist, I went searching and trying to find out, why does this feel so unbearable? And I came across intolerable uncertainty. And I thought, why did I not know this as a therapist, especially somebody who has got a trauma history and who works with attachment? And so I wanted to kind of explain it to some of you around what happens when there's intolerable uncertainty. So for some of us who have attachment wounds, where things are really painful and difficult, where safety and possible harm are from the same person, it can actually change the way we view relationships. So for some of us who have, anxious style attachments or fearful attachments, uncertainty can feel quite unbearable. And our nervous system gets really wired to look for safety. So all of us are born looking for safety. That means people to connect to, connection and belonging, love, the things that keep us feeling really safe. And we want that predictability and connection. But when things happen, and this could be any door closes, when something comes to an end, maybe it's the breakup of a relationship, maybe we lose somebody we love, maybe somebody passes away, maybe we have a child who has additional needs and the hopes and dreams for that child are changed. Maybe a job comes to an ending, or maybe, there's just a change in routine, or it's a change in the stage of life we are at. Maybe we were looking after little babies, and now we're looking after adolescents. Maybe our kids are leaving home. So these different stages in life where there's a door that's closing, and the question becomes, what's next? And humans generally don't like uncertainty at all, but intolerable uncertainty is literally that. It becomes intolerable to not know what's coming next, because we equate not knowing what's coming next with that doesn't feel safe to me. So instead of tolerating not knowing, our mind is really working hard to find out, where's the certainty? Like, where's the solid ground for me to stick my feet on? And we replay conversations, we imagine all the different outcomes, this rumination on, and if they do this or they say that, I can do that and I can do that. And when they call, I'll have this ready. And if I just said this in the conversation. And so we really play over these scenarios and can get into catastrophizing, really imagining the worst possible case outcome as we're scrambling to get some certainty, because even horrible certainty is certainty. So we're scrambling for that. And so it's just really important to kind of be able to measure your uncertainty. Am I at, again, with uncertainty, a 0 out of 10? Am I at a 2 out of 10? Am I in intolerable uncertainty territory, which for me is about a 7 to a 10 out of 10? And I remember the day I was a 10 out of 10 and I was frozen in place and I just couldn't do anything. And I sat like that for maybe 3 hours, just unable to do anything. And I thought, what is going on? This is the most bizarre thing in the world. I'd never consciously experienced it before. And so when I discovered what it was, I was like, oh, that's what this is. And that helped, right? Because then I had some certainty about where I was feeling. When you add that trauma layer in, especially relational trauma, if you think about, if there's trauma around your childhood, so with the primary carers in your life, if there's trauma around your adult children, that's relational trauma. That's really painful. With people who have power over you, like bosses, with your family and friends, these relational traumas, and especially with a partner, those relational traumas are really challenging because they teach our body about uncertainty. And they say, when things are uncertain, you are in danger. So, as a child, if you didn't feel safe, or life was consistent, or love could vanish without any warning for you, or was withdrawn as punishment to you, uncertainty gets coded into us as this is a threat and you could die. I mean, you don't, but you feel it in that way. It is a felt experience of this could be the end. And it's really intolerable, because for children, that's quite horrific, the thought of that, right? That's why it feels so intolerable. It's not just discomfort, it's your body bracing for harm. So it's important to know the difference between just some basic uncertainty in life and intolerable uncertainty, and being able to notice when that's happening. Our nervous system is there to protect us at all time. And if any of you are in the membership, the gorgeous Miss Kathy runs self-soothing classes to help teach people how to come back to their body and find safety within themselves, not outside of themselves, but inside of themselves. And that's really important. That helps us become more resilient when uncertainty comes around. The job that we need to do isn't to get rid of uncertainty. The job we need to do is to build our capacity to sit with it without spiraling into a panic or complete collapse. And that is what I do with women all the time. It's about learning skills that we weren't explicitly taught or were completely missed because maybe our parents didn't have the skills to teach that to us. So I want you to think about, what doors are closing for you right now? Is it a relationship? Is it a stage of life you are at? Is it a habit that you've gotten into, or a job that you're in? Maybe it's about self-image, how you saw yourself, and you're in that next stage of going, well, actually, I'm a bit different to that now. Menopause is one of those things that really makes us reflect on what is gone, the youth that we had, and the vitality that we may have experienced. And now we are in a different time and place. And so it is, there is a grief around that. Hello to everybody. Nice to see you, my love. Sarah, you're feeling a 7 today. And Lindsay, a steady 7 too. That's good to see. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you, my darling. You never heard I love you as a kid. Yeah. And that means those words become quite precious when we get into adult relationships, when we're wanting to hear it because it's especially sweet. But when people don't say it to us, of course, it can feel deeply painful. And then some people use it, and they say it like it's just nothing at all, and that can make it really dangerous because it can make us feel intoxicated and loved when maybe that isn't what's going on. Yeah, and getting it too, but not feeling it. It can be confusing. If somebody said they loved me, but their behavior didn't match that story, then as a child, we get confused. It's like in the pit of my stomach, that doesn't feel like it lands well, but I'm hearing the words, but it doesn't feel like it's landing. So let me know if any of that resonates for you in the comments. I'm keen to hear how you feel about all of that. What do you do when something ends? For me, this week has been such a relief. I've gone, it literally has felt like this huge sigh of, thank goodness that's over. And I've been really comfortable with noticing, thank goodness. But I also know that for some people, there's panic. Maybe it's relief. Maybe there's fear, like what's next, or sadness, and I know at the beginning of what has just come to an end, there was a lot of sadness. A lot of sadness, a lot of grief. And so, at different stages, we feel different things. So, what's the hardest part of endings for you guys? Is it the fact that you don't like uncertainty? Is it the heaviness of the grief of what's been lost? Or is it the not knowing what's coming next? Is it the questions that you kind of go, now what is going to happen? When long-term relationships end, there's a lot of uncertainty, where you're going to live, how you're going to provide for yourself. Are you going to have share care with your children? Will you need to get a job or change your job? Are you going to have to relocate? There's a lot of uncertainty when relationships come to an end. Of course, when a partner has an affair, that's massively that built-in uncertainty that just is poof. It's a lot to sort of, now I don't know what I can trust anymore. I have had a good week. Thank you, Carol. I have had a good week. Sarah, grief in the unknown. Yeah, I think they can really grab you by the legs and pull you under. And again, when we get a bit more resilient, when we have the tools in our toolbox to deal with these feelings, because feelings are not facts, and having the skills to be able to manage whatever feelings are coming up, that's what helps us weather life's storm, becoming more resilient, because shit's going to be thrown at us throughout our lives. It just will. That's an absolute fact. You know what I mean? There's no getting away from it. Too much grief always. My life is full of it. Yeah, and that perpetual grief where there's lots and lots and lots of sadness and heartache, and the next line and the next line. When we have complex lives, maybe we have health issues, maybe we have partner issues, maybe we have finance issues, and those compounding things can be incredibly challenging. Now, if you've got any questions for me, pop them into the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them for you. And we'll talk a bit more as we go through this morning, just about, dealing with this uncertainty, and for some of us, intolerable uncertainty. And how do we let the relief and the fear sit side by side? How do we manage the future, and being willing to make mistakes, being willing to move forward and go, I might get this wrong, and that's okay. So we don't spiral into really, really significant anxiety about something. The complexity of not knowing is scary. And, I was saying, Carol, about intolerable uncertainty. For some of us who have that layered attachment wound and trauma history, uncertainty can feel really intolerable. And so again, we need to learn skills to remind ourselves, this is a younger version of me responding today. This is a version of me when I was 4 or 3 or 2 years old that felt this absolute collapse because I didn't know what was going to happen next. And that part of me right now is activated, and that part of me is acting on this moment. And then we have to work on, how does this adult woman, this woman who's 40 or 50 or 60 or even 70 years old, how does this adult woman help that little person inside of her go, it's going to be okay. I'm here now. I can help us. I can take care of us. I can get us through this. And I know it's really hard, but we can get to the other side of this. And that, of course, is a lot of the work that I do, is teaching women about being the parent that they once needed, being the adult in their current situation, and noticing when a trigger comes along, that the trigger is really a younger version of themselves that hasn't quite managed that situation yet. And so we have to go in and rescue them. Super important, reminding ourselves that we have everything we need today to be able to go and rescue them. Hello, Jen. How you going? Learning to work to go forward was so scary, but I walk with hope. It's nice to see you, darling, and I'm glad to hear that. That's really good. Sarah, how do we try to let go of the old things when in our heads we know, but the body just doesn't own thing? How do we try and let go of the old things? And Sarah, I think, and you're in the membership, so one of the things, like self-soothing and learning to do breathing and coming back to ourselves, is the absolute first step, right? You can't deal with anything when you've gone out of your body, and that's triggering, right? So fight, flight, freeze, for some funny, for some fawning. And for people, when we become triggered, we are no longer able to access this part, right? This part that goes rationally. How do I manage this? What are my choices? What's the very next thing to do? So that part of our brain is gone, it's shut down. So we have got to be able to come back to ourselves. So the first thing is always, how do I come back to myself? And breathing is the answer, right? Slow down, do some breathing. Kathy's self-soothing classes are amazing to teach you how to self-soothe. And depending on who you are, whether you have sensory issues or whether you have different ways of managing the tension, you need to learn strategies that work specifically for you. So Kathy does those. We do them once a month. If you're interested, let me know in the comments and I can get the link for you. But being able to come back to ourselves is the very first step. Because when we come back to ourselves, then we have the capacity to go back to our little person inside of us, to go back to that inner child and help her. And that's also something that needs to be learned. You need to learn how to connect with that other part of yourself. You need to learn how to invite that part to come and be with you and reassure that part of yourself. We've got this. It's okay. I'm going to help us. I'm going to find the skills I need or the information I need or the support I need to get us through this. And it's a process. It really is. If you are new to my channel, again, my name is Debbie Carberry, you'll find a lot of information on this channel about managing situations like this after an affair, after a long-term relationship has ended. Specifically, also, I work with attachment issues and trauma, and you'll find information on my page about that. The playlists at the top of the page, currently I have two. One is about after the affair, and the second is when long-term relationship ends, and I will have more in the coming months. If you are interested in what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me and helps the algorithm find me. Also hit the notification bell and you will be informed when all of the lives happen so you don't miss anything. And also when I put out videos. So, I would really appreciate if you want to do that. Also, on this channel, we are here to answer questions and support people and be in community with each other. That I think that is missing in a lot of women's lives now, especially in the really tough times that we go through. So let's see what is going on here. How do we try to let go? I just did that one for Sarah. Carol, that would have been me with a dummy in each hand and one in my mouth, sat on the floor sometimes. I wonder why I can't do that anymore. Then I put my big girl pants on. And I think it's not about trying to suppress the feelings and going, right, get out of this, get over this, stop whining. I think it really comes from this very compassionate place, right, of I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to be gentle with myself. I'm going to remind myself that this is a difficult moment. And I'm going to really be the person I would have liked to be around me when I was 3 or 2 or 4 or 5 or 10. I'm going to really gently be kind to myself and remind myself that I'm doing my best right now. I think that's really important. The self-compassion key is just super important because many of us were talked to quite harshly when we weren't coping. And so being kind now is massively important. I can calm a lot faster now, but I just always feel like I'm not moving forward. And again, if you've had a really difficult traumatic history and you have some attachment issues, it is a much slower process for you to be able to do the things that I'm saying. You have to literally crawl before you can walk, before you can run. And so it takes much longer. And getting the basics there is the first step. Learning the self-soothing is the very first step. Once you get better at soothing yourself and calming yourself, then you can actually, your brain is actually available to take on board some of the suggestions of how do I do the next thing? How do I manage this? It's a really slow process. I'm 60, I'm 59 and 3/4. 59 and 3/4, I don't mind my age. I'm 59 and 3/4, and it took me a long time. I had this really horrific traumatic history, and it took me a very long time, I would say until my 30s, before I really started to get into my groove, remembering that I trained as a therapist. So I had years of studying this stuff, and then from there really implementing a lot of the stuff in my life. And that really helped me to be in the space I'm today, where I can notice. Sometimes it still catches me. I mean, a lot more rarely now than it did historically, but I can still get caught out and get pulled under. It just doesn't happen as much. The last big time was a few years ago, and it really, really pulled me under. It was a lot. So it does still happen, but thankfully not as often, because I have the resilience to deal with it. I notice things as they're coming. I'm like, ooh, that's coming around the corner. I can feel it. Or that's going to happen. I know that that's definitely something that's coming in. So yeah, it can be tricky in that regard, really. Let's see. I can calm a lot faster now. I've just done that. I would be lost without Kathy's self-soothing sessions. Yeah, they're really, really good. Like I said, if you want some lessons in how to soothe yourself, Kathy runs. It's a 1 hour on Zoom. She records it, and also there's a little PDF that comes with it. Just teaches you in a class, how to soothe yourself, and it's really interesting. I don't know how many of you learned to self-soothe as children, but it wasn't something I learned. I learned to, do one of my triggered responses. So it was either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn or funny. That's how I tolerated things as a small child. And in adulthood, I don't want to be triggered like that. I choose to sort of go, oh, I'm noticing that that's really starting to get under my skin. What's going on here? I'm noticing that I'm being a bit too friendly with this person, trying to win them over. What's that about? And so I really become conscious of it these days. So yeah, it's different for everybody, and we have to be kind and compassionate with ourselves as we try and navigate through it. Like I said, if you have questions, pop them into the chat. You're more than welcome to ask me questions while I'm doing my live. This is the Thursday chat. I come on every single week to answer your questions, to share and reflect about my own life, to try and weave story into what is going on for us. This week has been a doozy globally. Oof, the things that's happening in the world right now, my goodness, we all need resilience, all of us. So, I think everybody globally could do with some really gentle self-soothing and some really, really deep compassion for ourselves and for other people. So, yeah, I think, when it comes to uncertainty, we all struggle, but intolerable uncertainty is at the next level, and it's very challenging. So, like I said, when something like this comes up, are you getting relief or uncertainty? Notice what's going on. Sit with yourself and look and think about what's happening for me now. And the best way to do that is breathe and calm yourself down. And then you can notice, and then be okay with the fact that maybe both things can be there at the same time. Maybe you feel some relief, but maybe you're also worried about what's next. And let me know what steadies you when things get messy, what helps you to manage to move forward in the most messy times. Because, ladies, you will all know that when the stuff happens, we still seem to manage to just get through it. We've survived every single difficult moment in our lives to date. And that's really lovely, right? That we've gotten to the other side of everything. Even the moments where we were certain, we were absolutely positive there was no way we could get to the other side of it, we did. And so that's really important to when we're in difficult moments, to remind ourselves, I've gone through every single hard, difficult, uncertain, intolerable moment in my life to date. And for me, that brings a lot of that helps to calm me a lot. That helps me to feel better knowing I've survived everything so far. And I will survive this, whatever it is. I just have to take it one teeny weeny tiny step at a time. So if you've got questions for me, pop them into the chat. If you don't, I'll start to wind things up. I have done a lot of recording yesterday on this channel. So I did a lot of recording, prepping for the final chapters of the After an Affair series and the final chapters of the Heartbreak to Healing series. So if you've been watching those and enjoying those, there are 12 in each series, and I put those up once a week. So the one goes on a Tuesday and one on a Friday. So do check those out. They're all in the playlist so that you can go directly to those and watch them one after another. And once those are completed, I will be moving into other work around being a single mama. Also, I'm going to be looking at midlife and all the joys that come with that, with hormonal shifts, also with some health issues, also with some information around adult kids and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be doing that with the midlife one. And I will be doing a lot around how to manage some of these feelings that come up. So please do come back to the channel and join me for those things that will be coming up in the future. Mary, I'm trying to figure out how to tell my ex that I don't want him to come to my new house. Any ideas? Yeah, absolutely. So what I would suggest is just be really firm and set a boundary and just explain, hey, thanks for reaching out to me, or thanks for chatting, or whatever it is. But no, I'm sorry, you can't come to the house. You don't need to add an explanation to that. You don't need to add at the end of that any information. No is a complete sentence. If he's asking to come, the answer is actually, I don't feel really comfortable with that. Thanks. That's it. That's all you have to say. Nothing more. Sometimes we think we owe people an explanation as to why we have set a boundary with them. We don't. We don't owe an explanation at all. We just need to be sure that that is right for us. We can also change our mind if we want to, but that is up to us. So setting boundaries is really important. It's helpful for the other person because they know exactly what we require of them. It's helpful for us because we don't have to have that constant kind of, oh, I don't want to have to tell them this, and how are they going to be? And then, we just let them come in and we're like, this is the last thing that I wanted. So it's just really important to think about, okay, what am I going to say? If your ex has asked you, hey, I want to come over to your place, then respond with, I understand that you like to do that, but I would prefer it if you didn't. And that's it. I don't want my 3 dogs and cat to see him either. They're used to just us. Yeah. And again, you don't need a reason, Mary. You can just say no. That's all you have to do is just say no. And you don't owe him some kind of long, drawn out explanation. He's not entitled to that. You can just say no. It's your house. Kate, oops, no, is there one? Nope, I've missed somebody. Kate, I know ways to self-soothe now, but my issue is getting my brain to switch off and not replay negative thoughts. Sometimes I'm doing better, then I seem to fall down the black hole again. And, a lot of us do this, Kate. A lot of us will have loops so your brain is like a superhighway. And in that superhighway, you get to choose which road you're going down. Your brain has these pathways that it goes down, and your brain will go to those because it's quicker and it's easier, and it takes a lot less energy for you to use a path that you have always used. So we will oftentimes do things repetitively because our brain is used to them and it requires less energy. When we are forging a new path, you think of driving on a road you've never been on. You're going to get lost. You're going to have wrong turns. You're going to have to do a U-turn. You've gone off course. You missed your exit. So these are things that happen when we go on a new path. Well, that's what happens with the brain. The brain wants us to go back to the path that is the path of least resistance, right? That's why there's that phrase, the path of least resistance, is because our brain prefers it. It's quicker. It's easier. It's short-coded. We can get there fast. So when we're learning new things, our brain doesn't like it too much. So what we need to do is when we are learning things, that negative self-talk will come in, right? So, and there is actually a workshop on the website, Kate, about unhelpful thinking habits. I don't know if it's there. Kathy will let us know. If it's not there, I can maybe do it next month. So when we get into this churning and unhelpful thinking habits, what we have to do is challenge the thought. So first of all, we've got to be slow enough to notice what is the negative, excuse me, what is the negative thought I've got? Maybe it's, you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, you're not lovable enough. Maybe it's catastrophizing. This is never going to get better. I'm never going to be able to sort this out. This is impossible. Maybe it is, moving into memories, sitting with, oh, it used to be so good and things were so much better. And so we are relying on past history and going, those were the good old days, these are the bad days. They're, making mountains out of molehills, sitting and noticing something and making it bigger and bigger. So noticing what the negative thought behavior is and then challenging it. So with any change behavior, you can't just think your way out of it. You've got to use skills to get out of it. And the skills are often, what am I going to do instead? So when a negative thought comes up, what I do is go delete, delete, delete in my mind. And I'm like, no, I don't think like that anymore. So if I hear a whisper of, oh, you're going to get this wrong, or you talk too much, that's one of my favorites, you talk too much. I just go delete, 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 and I stop myself and I remind myself, you know what? It's okay for me to take up space. It's okay for me to voice my opinion. It's okay for me to be who I am, as imperfect as I am. That's all okay with me. And to keep doing that. So repetition is really important, Kate. Like, we've got to practice. Imagine if you've been doing something, having this pathway for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years of your life. Then you're not going to change that in a week or 2 or 12 months or sometimes 18 months or 2 years. It's a practicing over and 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 over again. And that builds that pathway in your brain where your brain goes, oops, no, I don't do that anymore. That isn't what I do anymore. And when people say to me, Debbie, I can't, I say, yes, you can, because you've learned so many skills in your life. You've learned how to drive a car. You've learned how to use a bloody mobile phone, which I find really confusing a lot of the time. You've learned how to use a computer. You know how to ride a bike, possibly. You've learned how to paint or draw or sing or play a musical instrument. You know how to do so many different skills. So yes, you can change something because the evidence is there. You can absolutely change things. Is it easy? No. Does it need persistence and consistency? You bet it does. That is the only way to change it. Being persistent and consistent. And it can be challenging, but it absolutely can change for you. You just have to be really persistent and really consistent with it. Good morning, Gemma. I told you I was going to do something. I'm going to do it for you today. Yesterday, like I said, there's been some completion in my life this week that took up a bit of airspace. But the thing that I said I would do for you, I will definitely do that for you, my love. And I will do that this morning. So my apologies for not doing that yet. I am getting onto it. There's the gorgeous Miss Kathy. Hello, Kathy, you deliciously scrumptious lady. It's nice to see you. We have currently negative cycles on the website, but not unhelpful thinking habits. So the negative cycles will help you, Kate. So if you head over to the website, you'll find that there, and I'm sure will be very, very helpful. I have a membership for people who are here wondering what I'm talking about. So in my membership, I offer support with teaching people things, women, of course, teaching women. It's a big community of beautiful women from around the world who have gone through long-term relationships ending or affairs, or have come because of other issues, who are in community with each other. And I teach them, and we do coaching calls and all sorts of fun activities together. Thanks for all the kisses, Jem. I saw pictures of you and your little man and your big man the other day on the internet. Really, really lovely. Very, very lovely. And Kathy is just reminding us there are 8 strategies on interrupting negative cycles on that video. So you can try some of those, Kate. Pick a strategy and just try it. See if it sits, see if it lands. If it doesn't, pick another one, try it, see if it sits, see if it lands. Ladies, my darling ones, we're coming to a close. So if you've got questions, pop them in quickly for me. Just a reminder to everybody, this channel is reasonably new. I know I've had a long time, but it's new insofar as I'm actively working on it every day. If you want to be notified of when I'm coming live or when my videos are released, hit the bell button at the top. Well, it's actually at the bottom of here, isn't it? It's down there. Hit the bell button, and that will tell you when things are coming live on my channel or when I'm uploading a new video. Also, hit the subscribe button. That subscribe button, it costs you nothing, but it basically tells the internet that, hey, this woman's stuff might be interesting to other women like her. So that's really helpful for me. And of course, do come along and comment and like and share my stuff. That's always helpful. We all have women in our lives who are struggling with something. It is very expensive to get help these days, and sometimes impossible for some women to get any help at all, for various reasons. This can be a very simple, easy way to have access to a professional who is trained, who can offer some insights and wisdom, as well as a beautiful community of gorgeous women that you can come and share time with. Let me just see what's going on here. Lots of lovely people talking in the chat. Sarah, I'm finding now that the conversations that I feel uncomfortable with are the ones I've been pushing myself to have. It has shown that there were a lot of assumptions and misunderstandings. Yeah. And difficult conversations are not easy. That's why they're called difficult conversations. And whoever's in the love hearts, thank you so much. But yes, I get it. I get that it can be hard, but we can do hard things, right? We can do hard things. We are braver than we think. And doing hard things, if you do it once, the next time won't be as hard, and the next time won't be as hard, nor will the next time be as hard. So it is about doing those things. It's again, when we're feeling anxious, what we generally do when we're anxious is we don't do the thing because we're anxious. And that just makes us more anxious. What we really need to do when we're anxious is to do the thing, because that's how we alleviate the anxiety. So it's just really important. And yes, I know. So it can be hard. So just start small. Just choose a teeny weeny tiny little thing and decide that, yep, I'm gonna have a go at this. I'll do it. And if it unravels and it's a hot mess, that's okay. I can be kind to myself and go, well, that was the first time I've ever done that, and that was really hard. So, and then we can be kind to ourselves and go, look at me, I had a go, I tried. That's a good thing. Like, trying is good, right? Trying is important. So yeah, just be gentle with yourself is a really important thing to say. Be gentle. We're heading towards the end of September. Can you even believe it? I say this all the time. Like, the end of September already. This year has flown by. So, I hope you are looking after yourselves. I hope that you are being gentle with yourselves. There is a lot going on right now globally, a lot of challenging, distressing, upsetting, divisive things. And so I encourage you all to just spread a bit of love, sprinkle some good juju anywhere you go. Say hi to somebody, be kind to somebody, open a door for somebody. Stop for a second and just look at the sunshine, or feel the breeze on your face. Or if you're in autumn, I'm not in autumn, I'm in spring. But if you're in autumn, the leaves dropping from the trees. And if you're in spring like I am, watching the flowers bud. I got up this morning and went into the garden, which is always joyful for me. And the very first carnation is about to bloom. I got them last year in my Christmas. My daughter made me the 12 days of Christmas. But every day, she did 24 days of Christmas because she's gorgeous, and gifts is one of my love languages, and she knows. And she made up the 24 days of Christmas, and every single day was a seed packet, because I'm a mad gardener who enjoys the garden so much. And in there was a packet of seeds of carnations. I've never grown them. I just thought, but I had a look at the one that she bought me. I thought, gosh, those are beautiful. And so I planted the seeds months ago, and I can see the flower getting ready to actually open up. I think it's going to be pink, and it's so pretty. So for my members, I promise you I'm doing the garden tour. I promised I was doing the garden tour last weekend, but it's been crazy busy. I had to put lots of new soil in my garden beds, because the season is beginning, and then I have to put all the mulch on top of it so that it's protected and all the other things. And so it's been crazy, but gosh, I've been harvesting like a crazy person. This week the food coming out of the garden is unbelievable. Lots of beautiful carrots. I've had tons of tomatoes, lots of strawberries and blackberries. I've had a ton of, I said tomatoes, I think, just tons and tons of food, which is so wonderful. And I have lots of greens, of course. Eat your greens, girls. I saw a study yesterday that said leafy greens help you to not get Alzheimer's. Very important to take care of your brain health. So get the greens into you. I make a really fine green powder that I'm going to put in my little stand at my house to sell to the general public. It's organic greens. There's about 5 or 6 different greens in it. And I also harvest it fresh from my garden and put it in freezer bags and put it in my freezer. Greens are really easy to incorporate into most food and just really boost your vitamin B, really take good care of your body. So get your greens in, you girls. Let me see what's going on. This year has been like a blink of an eye. Yeah, hasn't it just? It's flown by. I ordered my fall bulbs this morning. How gorgeous. I love a flower. I love a flower. So many flowers, new flowers in my garden because I'm going to be making bouquets for my little stand. So I have put in, I think, about 50 of the sunflowers. I have a lot more sunflowers to go in. My ranunculus are all blossoming. You can see my ranunculus over. Why am I doing that? There's some ranunculus from the garden. But I have a lot of pretty colours at the front, which I haven't harvested and brought in yet. Lots of pinks. There's some beautiful marshmallowy colours. They're just gorgeous. You've got peonies, tulips, ranunculus, daffodils, and more. How delicious. Hi, Jacqueline. Nice to see you, my darling. If anybody has a quick question they want to ask, pop it in nice and quick, and I will try and answer it for you. Today I will finish off those garden beds, and then I am ready. I have a lot of plants that are ready to go into the garden for the spring season. I've just been putting them in pots for now. Cosmos went in today. I have some cayenne peppers, which I'm going to try and blend up because cayenne pepper is very, very good for you. So I have peppers that I've done, lots of tomatoes that I've got that I'm growing, tons of my pumpkins are actually ready to go into the big pot in the back of the yard. I've got, what else have I got? Cucumbers, yellow squash, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of spring and summer veggies, capsicums and peppers, lots and lots and lots of beautiful, delicious, crunchy, fresh, delicious veg. Onions, oh my gosh, I pulled out all my garlic. My garlic harvest is enormous. I'm so chuffed. I will show you, ladies, the video of that. Hopefully in the next day or two, I plan to get my camera out and show you all, and I'll put it in the membership for you. All right, if there are any questions, pop them in right now because I'm going to go in a second. I hope you all have a fantastic week. If you are having a difficult week, just remind yourself, that you can get through difficult things. You can, even if they're really challenging and difficult and hard, you can get through them, I promise you. It is interesting times for sure, but we are all better together, right? That's the important thing. We're not on our own. We can do this in community. Everything feels more manageable when we belong somewhere. And for me, this membership, or my membership, is one of those places that just feels like a really big hug. It really does. I'm so blessed to have so many beautiful women in my life who are just, steadying. They steady me in my day to day, and I appreciate them. And I hope that they feel steadied also. So for the last time, I will say to you, if you have a question for me, you can always pop it in the comments. I'll read all of them on any of my videos. If you see a video, give it a really nice big thumbs up and do share it. That helps me enormously. Subscribe to the channel and come and ask me questions if you'd like to. You'll notice that I only use the first name of people, so that gives you a level of anonymity, but I'm pretty sure that when this goes in the replay, you can't see the names of the people. I'm pretty sure of that. So if you would prefer to be anonymous with it, like I said, I only use your first name. I don't use your full name at all. And thank you everybody for all the love hearts. I don't know how you're doing that, but it's really cool that you're pressing the love heart button and all the love hearts are coming up. You know me, I do love an emoji. And when I open the membership here on YouTube, I have made some really beautiful emojis for everybody. It's you, Carol. Well, of course it is, the love heart queen. Thanks, Carol. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Take the best care of yourself, my lovelies. And of course, I'm going to see you same time next week when who knows what we'll be talking about, because we'll see what happens in the next week, hey? Take the best care of yourself, and I will see you all really soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.